In life, you find what you're looking for. If you are looking for negativity and pain, you will find it. And if you are looking for joy and happiness, you will find it. You find what you're looking for. I am completely driven by gratitude. Every true day that I don't get a text or phone call that somebody I love died or has terminal illness, I'm fucking pumped. But you don't get it, Gary. I've lost my whole life. And just because you've been losing doesn't mean you can't win. I call it the Monday Night Miracle thesis. Is when the New York Jets were losing to the Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football 30-7 with like 10 minutes left in the game and came all the way back and won. Just because you've sucked at life and you're like, it's not true, I'm not awesome, I've lost at everything. Drug abuse, lost my loved one, like losing, like by how we would all consider it. I literally believe that you can win, and many have. Like if yesterday was a bad day, if yesterday you were like, I blew this whole year, I blew my whole life, it really doesn't matter. Today's always day one. Today's day one, y'all. There's a reason that people that were deeply alcoholic have been able to be sober the rest of their lives after going through a process. There's a reason that therapy is profound. There's a reason that meditation is profound. There's a reason that exercise is profound. When you change your behavior, good shit happens. When you deploy love, not hate. So many have poison in their soul, they gotta get it out. Are you in a place where you are ready to actually shift and execute on why you're here? And most importantly, finally cutting out the cancer of insecurity out of your body on the things that have always been there by shedding light. Love yourself is real. The problem is people don't love themselves because it was put into their brain that their worth is based on things that are very surface level. You listen to someone that was broken to tell you you're not awesome when you're fucking awesome. Someone put that in your head. I'm looking to take it out of your fucking head. If you've decided I can't because I was unlucky, my mom this, my dad this, my country this, my gender that, my income level this, well then it's over. Doesn't matter what I think, you think, anyone else thinks, it's over. I just refuse to talk to another human being and believe that to be true because there's been billions of examples of the alternative. Just really happy though, all in all, because as long as my parents and anybody I care about is healthy, then life is good.
I want you to tell us what those lowest moments of childhood felt like in one word.
Temporary. Absolutely temporary. There was just no way I was gonna let that person beat me again. And there was just no way I was gonna stay comfortable in this negative place. Just a matter of time. Some things are just destiny, you know? Look, everybody goes through a moment in their life where everything you thought up to that second vanishes and you realize that there's an opportunity to change the story that you've written in your head for the last 2-3 decades. And I think it's universal. I think there are very few people who don't get to a point at year 20, 30, 35 that don't start debating, wait a minute, is this what I want? Is this where I'm going? Is this how it's playing out? And, you know, to me, that is one of the most important moments in one's life. You know, many people look at it as a moment to start to get upset and say, wait a minute, this is not what I signed up for. And others, regardless of what's happened, use it as an opportunity to write the next chapter. It's important for me to tell the truth, and I was so insular. You know, I feel like I was so positive about how it was gonna turn out that it was hard for me to internalize it. Really, honestly, the toughest part for me growing up, actually, now that I think about it, was losing in anything. I used to cry a lot as a kid. Like if I lost in pool or Little League or a tennis match or chess or Nintendo. That was really the truth. Like when I wasn't in control and something I cared deeply about happened, or when I was in control, like when I played and I lost, having to calibrate the fact that somebody was better at something than me was something that took me a very long time, because I was so blindly positive and optimistic that I was gonna win.
So take me back to that moment and deciding to roll the dice and take a chance and to take a risk and to chase something else.
I was so alive. I was just so ready. And I knew it. I knew it. In that moment, I knew that I was exactly where I needed to be, that all the circumstances up to that point led me to this place where I was ready to flourish. I felt so at home. Until this room redefines success into waking up in the morning and being happy versus money, we will be in a bad place. Think about two core things, in my opinion. One, you have to, at all costs, not beat your own self up with yourself. At all costs. It's huge. Yeah. You need to really be your own biggest fan instead of critiquing everything. Number two, moments in time. You've got to wrap your head around how young you actually are. You have to wrap your head around how early in the process this is and how this is just a very small moment in time. 400 trillion to 1. I just want everybody to hear this. This is the reason I'm happy 24/7, 365 for the rest of my life. 400 trillion to 1. The odds of becoming a human being. You might not like the human being situation you ended up in, but let me tell you this. Your mom might have grabbed another glass of wine and you never would have been. I mean, 400 trillion to 1. I've never seen anything that scares me as much as sitting with somebody in their 80s or 90s who spends all their time talking to me and not what they did, but what they wish they did. And in that, there's something that I think can really work here, and here's what I mean by that. I believe that if everybody in this room had a better relationship with understanding time, they could be much happier. I feel like people are grossly impatient. I don't think that people that are 55 years old realize they have 20 more years of executing in a world where they grew up as kids and 55 seems so old and people were dying at a different age and retiring at a different age. I think if you actually saw regret up close and personal for one day, that a lot of the things that you're not doing, that it could scare you into doing it. I live a life already where people email me on a tactical level the regret that they wish they listened to me around this, that, or the other thing 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. You know, it's funny. It's really hard to ask a giraffe to be a penguin or vice versa. And so one thing that's become much more obvious to me as I've gotten older is like, wow, DNA is powerful. Like, I'm so comfortable with no and losing and fear, but I'm so empathetic to people that aren't. And this will surprise a lot of you that maybe follow me, I'm unbelievably comfortable with aggressiveness and candor and binary talk on stage, but one-on-one, I've really struggled over the last 25 years as an executive with radical candor and shooting it straight because I'm so optimistic and I'm always trying to fix it. And so that's taken me a lot of work. And through that work, I'm like, okay, you know, there's the things that come natural and there are things that aren't. If you grew up in a framework with parents or customs that really desperately overvalue outside affirmation, the opinions of your parents' parents or siblings, because you come from, let's call it what it is, an immigrant background where there's a huge commonality there. School, you were so deeply bought into school that the short-term affirmation of every 90 days with grades and report cards made you comfortable. It's very hard to then go into, hey, this is what you should learn from entrepreneur land. Like, don't worry about it, it's all gonna be fine. That's very hard. You've fully built yourself as an animal to completely value outside judgment that is not based on the market, but based on another human being. That's what I'd like people to learn, which is like, hey, like, what are we doing here? You've won the 400 trillion to 1 lottery of being a human being. Do you really wanna live with regret? Like, do you not understand that the internet is the greatest optionality in the history of mankind? That our grandparents and everybody behind them had nowhere close to the options you sit with today? And really, like, what are you valuing that's making you conform into doing something that doesn't make you happy? Your current overhead? So sell your home and rent. That sounds crazy. You know, when I started talking about like, hey, in the pursuit of happiness, would you consider selling your home and renting? I mean, I got destroyed in the comments sections and a lot of the play, like that I'm some horrible person. I'm like, how is living your life to pay the bills that you've created for yourself? That's all that humans do are create their own jails and then live within it. That's all we do. So knowing that that's very hard in a human way, the situation you have with your parents, all that stuff, the professional one feels like I have a prayer of communicating that and letting people, and here's my point. If you want to be a professional skier, or if you want to start a blog or podcast around cooking, my big thing is, if you jump and start swimming, you know, this is riding a bike, kissing a boy or girl, or you know, swimming. It seems super scary until you do it, and then you just laugh about why it felt so scary. Like, if you go do that thing and live more humble, live with judgment, you could always get a job again. Like, I don't know, like my great fear is regret. Because it is the obvious thing I see in people that are 80 to 100 years old that seems super scary. Nobody was thrilled that they played it safe. You don't see it. And I think people should spend more time with 80 to 100 year olds that aren't their grandparents. I mean it. I think people need context on life a little bit. I think people have a horrible relationship with time. Do you know how many people in this room are scared shitless of 30? Like it's something, like it means nothing. But our society has decided to tell you that you have to figure it out and marry and children, and what are you talking about? 98% of the 59-year-olds I know don't have it figured out. The hell are we supposed to have it all figured out at 30? 25, like people are making terrible decisions, getting married because they think they're supposed to by this age. You know, like buying homes because they think they're supposed, like the rules of modern society have led to, everybody wants to blame technology, you know, and drug companies for, you know, all our problems. We need to blame our norms, our expectations, our ridiculous North Stars that make no sense. We're living, when I look at this young of a crowd, they're living to 110. There's an enormous amount of people in here that are gonna live to 110 and are freaking out that they don't have it figured out by 30. You're not even a quarter of the way there yet. Just close your eyes until you're 29. Everybody wants to come up with excuses. I'm this, I wasn't born that way.
I'm stuck, I'm in a rut.
I wasn't born here, this. You can't be lost in life when you're this young. I'm a female, I'm an immigrant, I'm a minority, I'm transgender. Excuses. Reality, the problem is, nobody cares. Your lack of patience is killing you. It's slowing you down and everybody else. Your need of things is killing you. I don't need a fucking watch, I don't need a fucking whip. You need to be happy. Because happiness drives everything. You're not lost in life, you're just early in the process. Everybody's trying to prove something so early. Do you fucking wrap your head around not giving a fuck about any advancement to your 29? Please, whatever it takes, call your grandmother, go to your great grandfather's burial spot, go back to the old country, go to a shelter, do something. Do something that recalibrates your perspective on what is actually going on here. Every person in here fucking won the lotto. You won. Way too many people have made decisions without ever trying. Everybody's judging themselves way too early. You can literally do 4 different things over the next 2 years, 6 months at a time to figure out everything that you think you might like, you should try to do. Doing something around passion is very similar to love. You're blinded because you like it. It's not rational. It's not rational. The number one reason I push patience, man, patience. Everybody's looking up to audit themselves where they are now, is because patience will give you the air cover to take risks. Time is your asset. What I would do is gather as many experiences as possible. The one thing a 20-year-old has over me is 20 fucking years. Get the fuck out of the machine for a second and think about what you're doing here. You get optimism and patience, you're fucking off to the fucking races. The 99% that achieve are willing to sacrifice, be persistent, put in disproportionate work, and think in 50-year terms, not 50-day terms. Just close your eyes until you're 29. Just close your eyes until you're 29. Because when you see regret in a man's eyes, it's fucking painful because you can't do shit about it. When you're 90 and you're not mobile and you're tired and it's over, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't build that company you wanted. You can't spend that time with your kid. It's regret. Yeah. And it fucking drives the shit out of me. Look, I think failure has to be quantified. If you fail that you never can get up from it again, that's not a good failure. I think failure and adversity are the two things I think about. For me, as an entrepreneur and very entrepreneurial and always in my own stuff, all the failures along the way, even going back to like the baseball card show when I was 13 and I paid $400 for a table and nobody showed up to that baseball card show. That was a learning lesson. Those micro failures were super, super important. I think, it depends on your stomach, right? Like if you really fail, like go out of business, I think people take one of two ways, right? They're like just finished and they're never able to get off the mat and they go in a different direction. So to me, I think quantifying the failure is important to me. They gotta change, you gotta evolve. Like Madonna did it right. She reinvented herself 14 times. That's why she had a long career. You've gotta reinvent yourself. Let's talk about sports. When you're the best athlete and you're like the guy and you're like one of the top 15 players, Draymond Green, he's my buddy. Draymond really worked on his game every off season. Ricky Rubio, the flashy point guard from Minnesota, if he developed his outside shot, he would have been a much bigger player. He had all the passing skills, the quickness, he's got everything. If instead of going to Ibiza and fucking chicks in the off season, he worked on his 18-foot jumper, he'd be in the game. If you have ambition, your actions have to match that. And too many people are just like not putting in the work. Their mouth is way ahead of their fucking, actions. Like, really? You're gonna be the greatest NBA player of all time? Why? Because you think you got a little handle on the weekends? You need to shoot 15,000 free throws before school every day. What did you do from Friday 5 p.m. until Monday 7 a.m.? I'm just curious, and I don't think you shouldn't have a weekend, but I think everybody's ambition actually is more predicated on their actions than their words. My friends tell me all the time they're so ambitious, and I'm like, if that's true, then you punt leisure, and you punt concerts at Jones Beach, and you work. I realize what's going on here. One life. I realize that I'm living like this is our only at bat, and most of you aren't. People fucking walking around here like they're coming back. People fucking walking around here like they're coming back. You're not coming back. Well, listen, I don't want to impose my beliefs on others. Maybe you believe you come back. I believe you come back as a tree, or a flower pot, or D-Rock sneakers. And that blows compared to being a human. And so I'm acting that way. I'm acting that way.
Your first video got how many views?
30, 75. I mean, nobody watched. Right? So when I get emails, which I get 50 of them a day for entrepreneurs, I'm like, hey, I know you always talk about patience. I've been doing this, it's not working, traction, should I give up and do something else? Inevitably, I'll email back and be like, how long have you been doing it? Oh, 4 months. And I'm like, fuck you. You want this to be your life and you're giving up after 4 months? Are you out of your mind? Patience is grossly underestimated. I was very successful, my wine business is growing. Now I start doing this show and spending all my time trying to promote this show. And the sales of Wine Library start flattening out because I was the engine. The show wasn't getting watched, but I knew this was right. And the show really didn't take off until mid-2007, a year and a half in, of 5 days a week of doing a show, getting only hundreds than a couple thousand views. Gotta keep putting in the work every day. 1 is better than 0. Gotta keep putting in the work, putting in the work, putting in the work. There is no quick cure. The hard work matters, and the patience is what overrides it, right? I don't need to get mines at 25. Heck, I don't need to get mines at 45. This is a long, long game. I'm very driven by the climb, right? I think being an immigrant, I guess, or just having this DNA, I don't like winning. I like losing. I like the struggle. I don't give a shit about the stuff that comes along. But the game is my drug. Like, there will never be a game over for me. There's no dollar amount. The game, the process, the climb, that is the drug that drives me. That is my oxygen. That's what I love. And so every day is gonna go by. 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. And you're gonna look for the short game. You're gonna look for that miracle algorithm. You're gonna look for that one move that's gonna change your outcome. And you're gonna continue to search and play the short game while I keep putting in the work, the hours, the long-term value, and putting in the work while everybody else is hoping and dreaming. I'm gonna be executing. You play this short game, I'll keep playing the long game. And it's time to put on a helmet and get to work. I'm scared. I'm super scared. I'm scared because I know exactly what happens this month every year. Every year. I'm scared. I'm scared because I know that there are so many of you that graduate this month and have no fucking idea what you want to do. And that's okay. Most people don't. You should not be stressed about that. I'm actually not scared about that. I'm scared that you don't realize that you're entering the greatest 5-year window of your life. If you were 22 years old, you were entering, first of all, some of the greatest years of your life. A. But B, this is the moment, because you have to understand, this next 5-year window is when you don't go practical and safe. This is not the time to get the job mom wanted you to. This is not the time to try to maximize as much money so you can buy a fat whip. This is the time to realize that you have a 5-year window, and it's 3 for some, it's 8 for others, but this is a 5-year window for you to attack the life that you want to win, not because it's the secret or because the world's so zen, because it's fucking hard as shit out there. Class is easy, right? What you've been doing for the last 16 years it's structured, it's easy. The world, this thing is hard. However, that contradicts what I'm gonna tell you right now, which is this is the best and easiest 5 years of your life, because this is when you need to attack what you love and what you want to do. Here's why. You don't have all the baggage. You may have college lows, respect, it's hard as shit. You may have the expectations of your parents, mentally hard, fake hard. You may have a lot of other things, but this is exactly when you can live with 4 roommates in a basement and eat fast food. Do you understand? This is not when the baby's there. This is not when you've been married and you promised. This is not when the world has sucked out all your dreams and hopes yet. You still got this window. And yet, so many of you are so hungry for short-term gains, like maximizing the job that paid you $3,000 more, but it's not as fun, but you want that $3,000. For what? For what? For a new iPhone? For what? You get to live life one time. And this is the time right now to understand what's actually happening and actually map your behavior to something that will impact you for the next 80 years. So promise me that you understand that the land grab of happiness starts right now, that you don't have to worry about getting that job. What you should do is go and travel and learn. Go and start that business that you've always wanted. Hook up with those 3 teammates and start that band you've always wanted. This is the time to be massively risk oriented. I know that this is when you're supposed to grow up and go see the world. But guess what? The world isn't what mommy and daddy told you. The world is exactly going to be what it's going to be, with or without the way you thought it was gonna be. A ton of shit is gonna change. The world changes every goddamn day. Right now, what you need to recognize is you can afford to. And again, because I'm scared, I can hear myself talking. I'm not saying it's the secret, it's practicality. When you are in your early 20s, this is when you can grind at your highest levels because there isn't all the baggage that comes across from life. It's harder for the 42-year-olds that are watching right now to listen to this advice. You can't just wake up tomorrow and be like, let's go. Because little Sally has soccer fucking practice. And because you've got a million other things that are holding you down. But boy, if you're lucky enough to be graduating today with not an idea of what you're gonna do with your future, nobody's ever been luckier than you. Please recognize it.